Welcome to the tutorial for AlphaLab's Feature Lab menu. This is where you mine millions of candidate features, screen them by their out-of-sample information coefficient, review the survivors, and, after your approval, add them to the discovery pool. We'll go through every control, every button, every checkbox, and every table column, one by one, so you have no doubts. The Feature Lab menu has two configuration panels at the top. On the left, Generation, where you decide what to mine and how. On the right, Screening and Portfolio, where the quality filters are applied and the feature portfolio is built. Below are the three action buttons: Start Mining, Cancel, and Approve. Then the progress bar, the table of surviving features with their metrics, and at the very bottom, the live mining log. One important thing: Feature Lab is not a per-campaign step. It is occasional research that produces a stable pool of features. Let's start at the top left, the Generation panel. The Generation panel, on the left, defines the feature space to be generated and the data to mine on. It has four controls: the scope, which decides whether you mine a single symbol or the whole universe, the symbol and the time frame, the concrete data, the mode, how the candidate expressions are generated, and candidates, how many expressions are tried. The info icon in the header reminds you what Feature Lab is. It mines candidate features with an operator grammar, screens them by out-of-sample information coefficient, decorrelates by clustering, and validates on holdout. Let's go control by control. The first drop-down is the scope, the search scope. It has two options: single, symbol plus time frame, mines a single pair and resolution. It finds local specialists, approved with the scope tag, and discovery, and the daemon use them only on that pair. Universe, all symbols at the time frame, mines all symbols across all time frames and unions the survivors. It surfaces features robust across the whole universe without a primary symbols bias. Cross-validation decides whether a feature is global or scoped. Keep in mind that universe is quite a bit heavier because it mines every dataset. So if it runs slow, lower the number of candidates. Below the scope are the symbol and the TF. The symbol is the drop-down where you pick the concrete pair or index to mine. The list isn't fixed. It shows the symbols that actually exist in this market's data catalog. The TF, to its right, is the time frame: 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, or daily. It defaults to H1. Important: these two controls only take effect in single mode. If you pick Universe, the symbol and time frame are disabled, because then all symbols and all time frames are mined at once, and the label changes to symbol, parenthesis, all. The mode controls how the candidate expressions are generated. It has two modes. Combinatorial enumerates the expression space systematically and deterministically, multiplying operators by base columns by windows, up to the candidate's limit. It's reproducible and exhaustive at low depth. The first candidates tend to be the simplest expressions. Random samples expressions at random, with a fixed seed, up to a maximum depth. It explores deeper, more varied combinations without the enumeration order bias, but it is not exhaustive. It's useful to discover more complex or non-obvious features with the same budget. The rule of thumb: combinatorial for a reproducible base sweep, random to hunt deep features. The candidate slider sets how many candidate expressions are generated and screened. The current number is shown to the right of the slider. The range goes from 5,000 to 50,000, and it defaults to 5,000. And this is key: 5,000 candidates is enough. More candidates do not yield better features. They only produce thousands of near-duplicate, correlated features, what's called overmining or data snooping, which the cluster cap discards anyway. You should only raise it if 5,000 leaves you fewer than 20 survivors per dataset. In any case, very high values used to be a problem: 100,000 or more generated thousands of correlated survivors, and the clustering, which is cubic cost, hung for hours. That's why the ceiling is 50,000. We move to the right panel, Screening plus Portfolio. Its first checkbox is Auto Build Feature Portfolio, and it's ticked by default. When it's on, after mining, AlphaLab builds the optimal feature portfolio. It does a forward greedy selection. That is, it keeps adding features that contribute predictive complementarity, and it decorrelates them from each other, and proposes that set to you. The key point is that it only proposes it. You decide what to approve. There is no blind automatic flow that pushes features into production without your sign-off. The features the portfolio picks are then flagged in the NPF column of the table. Right below, there's a gray hint line that describes the automatic screening filters. You don't have to configure them. They're applied automatically to every candidate feature. There are 3 quality guards. The first, the ICOS guard, requires a minimum out-of-sample information coefficient. That is, on data the mining did not see. The second, the deflated IC, corrects that IC for the number of tests performed to penalize data snooping. And the third, the holdout PBO less than or equal to 0.30, requires the probability of overfit, measured on a separate holdout, to be low. Only the features that pass all 3 appear in the table below, ready for your approval. The second checkbox of the panel is cross-dataset validation, which assigns the global or scope tier. It's also ticked by default. A feature is global if it proves robust across at least K datasets of the whole universe. It's scoped if it only works on one specific symbol as a local specialist. This distinction is what later lets Discovery correctly tell a symbol feature from a universe one. If you pick the universe scope, this checkbox is forced on and locked, because in that mode cross-validation is precisely the breadth gate that gives meaning to the universal mining. The third checkbox is futures cross-asset, which is optional and advanced, and only appears in the forex and indices market. When you enable it, it adds the 7 features with the FXFUT prefix as mining candidates: volume, open interest, COD positioning, and basis of the correlated CME future. It's used to discover FX features that use information the OHLCV alone does not have. It auto-detects the symbol. Today the beneficiaries are Euro dollar, dollar yen, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq. It's anti-look-ahead guaranteed, and the live daemon also builds these features, so the ones you approve are usable in portfolio strategies and in the MetaTrader Expert Advisor. It's off by default, so that FX is byte identical without it. The last control of the right panel is the min datasets for global slider, the K. It defines how many datasets a feature must clear to be considered global rather than scoped. The range goes from 2 to 8, and it defaults to 5. The current value is shown on the right. The higher you set K, the stricter you are. A feature will have to prove its worth across more datasets to earn the global tier, so there will be fewer global ones, but more robust. The lower it is, the more features will reach the global tier, but with less breadth requirement. 5 is a good balance to start with. Below the 2 panels are the 3 action buttons. Start mining, the big one on the left, launches mining with your whole configuration. While it runs, it disables itself, and cancel becomes active. Cancel, in the center, stops the mining safely. And approve selected, arrow, discovery pool, on the right, promotes the features you've ticked in the table into the discovery pool. If you tick rows, it approves those. If you tick none, it asks whether you want to approve all the survivors. And note, approving replaces the previous pool. The latest run always wins. If this market has no downloaded data, like stocks until the Sharadar API is in place, the Start button appears disabled with the text No Data, Download First. Right below the buttons is the progress bar. When nothing is running, it shows the percentage and the word idle. During mining, it shows the completed percentage and, beside it, a message of the current phase, for example, which dataset or which stage of the funnel is being processed. Mining runs in the background, so the interface stays responsive and you can move through other menus while it progresses. The central table lists the surviving features, ordered by their importance to discovery, and it persists across restarts. When you open the app, you'll see the last saved mining. Each row is a feature with these columns. The first one, the check, ticks that row for approval. Clicking the check header ticks or unticks them all at once. The hash column is the features ranking. Its color is the quality traffic light of the whole row. Green if it's among the best and enters the pool first. Yellow if it enters but is secondary. And red if it's overfit or below the cap and won't enter. Feature is the name of the mined expression, for example abs of close or strength of high. 30. ICOS is the out-of-sample information coefficient, and IC hold the holdout 1. Both share the row's quality color, and a plus or minus sign indicates the direction of the correlation. PBO is the probability of overfit, with its own traffic light. green up to 0.30, yellow up to 0.50, and red above, a sign of likely overfit. Tier shows global in blue, robust across the whole universe, or scoped, a single symbol specialist. Breadth is how many datasets the feature has been validated on. And the last column, in PF, shows a gold tick if the auto portfolio picked that feature. To curate the pool, tick the rows you want, or use the header to tick them all and press approve. At the very bottom is the mining log, the real-time log. When you start, it states what's being mined, how many candidates, and with which options. When it finishes, it tells you how many unique survivors there are, how many entered the auto portfolio, and that they've been saved to the mined_features.json file, which persists across restarts. And when you approve, it records how many features were written to the pool, how many global and how many scoped, and reminds you that it replaces the previous pool and that discovery and the live daemon already used them. If you tick nothing and confirm, it approves them all. If there are duplicates, it warns you how many were merged. And that's the whole feature lab menu. In short, in generation you choose the scope, the symbol, the time frame, the mode, and the number of candidates. In screening you leave the automatic filters, the auto portfolio and cross-validation on, and adjust K. You press Start Mining, wait for the quality filters to finish, review the survivors in the table with their metrics and colors, tick the ones you want, and press Approve to curate the discovery pool. Remember, Feature Lab is occasional research that produces a stable pool, not a per-campaign step. In the next videos, we'll cover the rest of the menus in the same detail.